Welcome back to 843 TV. We are now happy to be joined by Debra Ferguson, the new Bluffton news anchor, effective about, what, 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Yes, I'm a newbie.
So how did you become the Bluffton news anchor, and share with everybody just kind of that process and a little bit about your background?
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you to WHHI. I'm honored and I consider it a privilege to have this opportunity. So thank you, WHHI, and Wayne. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, you're doing a good job.
Thank you. Thank you. First, I have a background. I like to say I'm a recovering English teacher from eons ago. And so I do have a background in English. And one of the things I did do was I was education director for a distance learning program. This was back as we were just figuring the internet out. Now that really ages me, but that's the truth. We were figuring out that we could teach classes over the internet, and that was I knew that was something I loved. I loved the being on air, being live. It just felt really fresh, and the learning process just became so alive and vivid for me. And I've always been a curious person, and I think this is a great opportunity to learn about Bluffton.
Yeah.
And so I'm living here now, and I am loving the opportunity to learn more and meet the people.
That's great.
So what do you enjoy most about hosting local telecasts?
Well, I think I kind of touched on, I was just saying, I love learning about the people. I've learned meeting Paul and Bobby today, and I like learning about the place itself. I mean, I've lived here, now I know so much more about Walter Place and Ace Hardware and Leadership Bluffton, and I think that's the best part, is the learning and getting out and about, learning the history of this amazing place.
That'll take a while.
Yeah.
I've been doing this show for 2 years, and I learn something new about the area every single time we shoot.
Well, right, and I think that's something that that's key, is that there's a history here. You know, I'm a newbie. I know a few of us here are new here, but I feel a connection with it that I want to preserve. And
So why do you think it's so important for Bluffton to have its own news program?
well, Wayne, when I first met with Wayne, he used the word hyper-local, and I think that really defines WHHI in their mission, is to bring news to a really local level, down and dirty local, you know what I mean? Well, maybe not dirty, but really get into, what makes this town tick, what's happening, and what can I do, as a community member to be a part of this. And
Bluffton truly is different. So
it is.
Yeah, so it's just great to have our own news.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like watching it. I like reporting it, and I like seeing this stuff unfold.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I think the next question is something that I wanted to talk about the what local news can do for us. And
What are some of the big news stories that you think will be unfolding in 2014?
Okay. Well, that brings me to what I was just saying. I think that growth is a big issue, and I think it's a great issue. I think it's important, and I think if you look around Bluffton, we are, to use a hyperbole, we're exploding with growth, and it's all good right now. But we also came here for a reason. We came here for the beauty, and we want to maintain that beauty. One of the stories we had this week was about the historic Graves House on Calhoun. You can't go down Calhoun Street and not be just enamored with the old South and the feeling of what it must have felt like. I love the fact that somebody's jumping in and preserving that house. And going to use it for the farmers market that we have on Thursdays.
Thomas has done a great job with encompassing old and new. You know, he redid all the Carson cottages with not old wood. There's a better word. Repurposed.
The new word.
But he keeps the history and keeps that, and that is to me like what Old Town is really all about. So I think that's amazing. That's one of the biggest reasons why I like being here.
Well, and we have to, I think as citizens, we have to stay on top of what's happening. So we preserve what's here and what brought us here, but also keep the spirit alive of Bluffton, but also grow in a way that also keeps the spirit alive.
And this is a perfect example. Old Town is Old Town, and here we are sitting in Buckwalter talking about the growth and sort of the new town Bluffton, as it grows and emerges. It's just amazing.
And here you are promoting leadership, which is so needed, and then we've got an Ace Hardware that I like to say I love hardware stores, and the fact that we're having something you mentioned it's going to be a little bit old school, bikes and squirrels and kids can come and play. I love that. So that's kind of in the spirit of Bluffton.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, responsible growth obviously is a huge issue, but also with the Bluffton News, we like to focus on local schools and athletics and those things. I know there's a controversial splitting of the school system here that we've had some guests that have had some strong opinions on. And,
it's a hot topic.
The hyper-local thing is exactly what it is, and that's what we do. That's why we have a Hilton Head News, a Bluffton News, and a Beaufort News, because as we've talked about before, the Savannah stations, they do a great job, but they're talking about Savannah. And WHHI is talking about our community, which you referenced as well, being a part of the community, and that's really what we do. So if somebody's got a news story, they can of course call the station at 785-4545, but a direct link to you is?
News at WHHI-TV.com is the best way to reach me.
Simple enough. And we're always looking for news stories, obviously, for content.
Please.
And we have newsmaker segments as well that we do. So you're doing a great job. And
thank you, Wayne.
The best is ahead for sure. And the Bluffton News is stronger than ever. So thanks for being a part of it.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching 843 TV.
Where communities come to speak.